Hey chess fans, it's been a while. I haven't made any new videos in over a year now, I think. And but I have noticed that people have been subscribing to my channel, and so I've wanted to make some new videos for some time. Just been procrastinating, so I thought no time like the present. This game actually I played about 5 hours ago. It's about 1:30 in the morning now, but this was from last night at the Marshall Chess Club in New York City. I was white, and let's get started. So I played e4, like I always do. My opponent played e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and bishop e7. This is the Hungarian Defense, I believe. Not that common, but I've faced it at least once or twice before. d4, e takes, knight takes, d6, knight c3, knight f6, and here I don't really know the book lines that well. I'm just trying to play solid. I decided to take the knights off just so worst case scenario, at least I'll have a small structural advantage. Maybe I shouldn't have given up that nice centralized knight. Let him keep the pressure on him. Let him decide what to do. But I was pretty happy with the way the game turned out. So anyway, here I castled. He castled. Nothing too exciting going on yet. Rook e1 and h6. Not really sure why he played h6. I wasn't really planning to put my bishop here, but not a terrible move by any means. I played queen f3. I was debating between that move and bishop f4. He played bishop d7. I thought he might play bishop e6. In which case I probably would have backed up with bishop b3 that way, so if he trades, then I've got the open a file for my rook. Of course he doesn't have to trade, but I thought bishop e6 would have been a little more active. He played bishop d7, bishop f4, knight h7. I'm not really sure where he's going with that knight. I guess he wants to control the g5 square, but I'm not really sure why he's so concerned. Anyways, he plays here. I play rook from a to d1, just getting all my pieces centralized. He plays queen c8, so obviously he's trying to skewer my queen and rook here. So I slide gracefully out of the way, and he plays. He played bishop bishop g5, and I thought, you know what, let me just trade. I thought taking back with the pawn might have been a little better, because taking back with the knight allows me to kick it. I kick it again, and now I play f6. So in the game, I didn't do these moves instantaneously. I actually thought for about 15-20 minutes here. This was game in 120 actually, so each side gets 2 hours, which frankly I really enjoy. I mean, I enjoy playing Blitz. I played Blitz earlier that day in Bryant Park right before the tournament, but did pretty well. But if I'm going to play a game of chess where I'm writing down the moves, I'd rather play a longer game than a shorter game. Although if you play game 30 or game 60, you can get more games in a day. And anyway, back on track. So he plays g6. If he takes the pawn, I'm going to play h4, and the knight's pinned. He could block with the bishop, which is protected by the queen, but then I'll probably play this, and sooner or later he is going to lose the knight. So that's why he decided to play g6 instead. So here I played h4 anyway, and he went to e6. It's forced that he goes to e6, because if he goes, for example, say to h7, I'm going to take this pawn with mate next move, because the f pawn is pinned. So knight e6, it's kind of a good square for the knight, holding everything together, blocking the pin here. Only problem is bishop, queen, his pieces are not very well coordinated, and so the knight is okay, but these two pieces are terrible. So now I played e5, d5, bishop d3, king h7, h5. So just trying to put as much pressure on his king side as possible. You'll notice, almost the whole game from right out of the box I've been trying to attack on his king side. Now, the goal of attacking on the king side isn't necessarily to, get checkmate or win material right away. In this game, I convert my attack into another advantage, which you'll see after he plays knight g5, after I trade pawns. Now, you'll see my attack on the king side is kind of probably not going to go anywhere. However, I have another advantage. Now I have two connected passed pawns, which is, if you know anything about chess endgames or even middle games, having two connected passed pawns is a big deal. You might look at the position and say, oh, well, material's equal, but my pawns are way better than his pawns here. So let's just see how the game went. So I played king h4 here. Not exactly Fritz's first choice, but I had an idea. He decides, okay, let me trade off my pretty bad bishop here so I can get my queen in, and I oblige him. So he takes back the queen, and now I play rook d4. So my idea here is not very sophisticated. I want to sack my queen, and after he takes, I'm going to play rook here with mate. And if he doesn't take the queen and goes here, then I'm going to mate him on this square. So, but the problem is he doesn't have to go for any of that, and he doesn't. He plays knight f7. But after knight f7, I play e6, and now my pawns are both on the 6th rank, which is great. Actually, you might read in endgame books or various places that having two connected passed pawns on the 6th rank is pretty much equivalent to a rook in strength, and I pretty much agree with that. So let's see how the game went. So he played knight d6, f7, because he was on this f pawn twice. So I played f7, g5, queen f2. I'm not afraid to trade queens here, but black is, so he backed up to the only safe square he could back up to, g6. And now I figure it's time to Fritz doesn't think this is even in the top 4 or 5 moves, but from a positional standpoint, it just leapt out at me as the best move. I played knight a4, so you might think, okay, where's the knight going? Well, the knight is going here and then here. And you can see now that this pawn structure, you might think, well, the game's mostly been on the king side, but having these pawns that are all screwed up, there's no way he can stop my knight from getting to this square. So he plays knight e4. He's like, all right, whatever, let me centralize my own knight. But I'm so far ahead that I can actually sack the exchange here, which I do, and now play knight c5. So you might think, what do you mean you're ahead? Like, now you're down materially, but remember what I said about these pawns. They're vastly more powerful than, for example, these pawns or even these pawns. As pawns get advanced to the 6th and 7th, you kind of have to throw material, typical material considerations out the window. So here he plays e3, not really good. I take, and he plays queen c2. Now here is the only place I really went too far astray, although I'm still fine. I decided to play queen d3, forcing the exchange of queens into an endgame that I figured I would be winning, and then I did win, but Fritz likes knight d7 better, and black can give a check after I move, though. Queen g6, knight takes f8, rook takes f8, and e7. I'm going to queen at least one of my pawns here. For example, queen takes f7, and e takes f8, queen. So I could have won a lot faster that way, but decide rather than do all that fancy calculating, let me just trade queens. That's not really a good policy to avoid fancy calculating, because that's kind of what chess is all about. Can't be afraid to calculate. But I was in some time pressure already here, so he plays king g7, knight d7, rook fc8. Played king f2, not really entirely necessary. a5, I should have played this move, rook f3 right away. Rook f8, knight takes, and king takes. And here I play rook f6, clever little move. I was pleased with myself for finding. The point is that if he goes after the rook with king g7, I can play e7, and if he takes, then I'm going to get queen and then another queen, so that won't work out for him. So he played rook b8. I played b3 just to avoid any kind of counterplay whatsoever. h5, rook g6, king e7, and rook g8. So obviously can't trade rooks, or I'm going to queen. But after rook f8, all of a sudden black's in Zutzwang. Once I lock up all the pawns, he'll have to move the king or the rook. Anywhere he moves the rook, I'll just take it. And if he takes this pawn with the king, then I'm going to take his rook. So he's kind of in a jam. I played a4, not really necessary. I realized, wait a minute, I don't need to lock up the pawns. I can just march my king up. And he's got more to worry about than being in Zutzwang, because I'm actually going to mate him. Here, he just pushes the pawn again. I mean, he's already lost, but after I trade rooks and he takes back, after king f6, it's mate and 1. His king is stalemated, but he's still got some pawn moves. So after any move, checkmate. So hope you enjoyed that game, and I will be uploading some more videos for you guys soon. Feel free to leave comments. Always welcome, and I will talk to you later.